Hello, I want to start off today by telling everybody why I'm doing these videos and these audios because I have a why. What is my why? I remember, and it's been almost 10 years now since I was diagnosed with MS, how I felt after I was diagnosed. I didn't know anything about the disease, and I thought my life was over. So I remember going in, I was 45 years old, and I remember getting my results. I got my blood work, I got my brain scan, which had lesions all over it and a few down my spine. And I remember the neurologist telling me, "You've got MS. You definitely have MS." And I remember that first feeling that just took over and washed over me. And it was a sense of shock, and then it was devastation. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And she didn't have a lot of empathy. I feel like this is something that she did daily. I felt like she gave somebody a diagnosis with MS or another neurological disease on a daily basis. So this was not any news to her. But to me, it was everything. When you think, and this is how I used to think and believe, that people that are diagnosed with something like MS just wither away, they get worse and worse, they end up in a wheelchair, and then slowly but surely they die away. They get worse. They can't walk. They lose all motor skills. That's what my thought was when I thought of somebody with MS. And I was just beside myself. I couldn't believe what I heard. And I remember her giving me a few brochures. A lot of them were on different drugs that I can get on. One of them was on diet, but it was very minimal. It didn't say much about diet. It said basically eat healthy foods. Well, what are healthy foods? Most of us that grew up in the 80s and 90s were taught things that are untrue that I've learned today. And I'm getting back to my why, I want to prevent more people from feeling the way that I did when I was diagnosed. I want to give people hope. I want people to know that they can heal themselves because it's absolutely possible. And I want people to start getting educated on this. Most people have no idea. When you don't know anybody that has MS or an autoimmune disease, you know nothing about it. And then all of a sudden, you get diagnosed with something like this, and it just throws you under the bus. So I want to be part of the education out there. And I've said this before, there's about 50% of people out there that don't believe that they can heal themselves with MS or any other autoimmune disease. And they can. Now, there are a few diseases like diabetes 1, for example, that is an autoimmune disease. Now, that person does have to keep taking insulin and watch their blood sugar levels. But I've talked to somebody with diabetes 1, and if they didn't change their diet and part of their lifestyle, then they would be way worse and would have to take more insulin than they have to today. And there's other autoimmune diseases where you might have to take a drug, but really explore and find other people that are managing the type of disease that you might have been diagnosed with, and find out how they're doing. Find out if they healed all of their symptoms and whether or not they have to take a drug. You're going to find that most autoimmune diseases are healable, and people wean off their drugs, and after a while, they don't need them if they keep up their diet and their lifestyle. Now, again, my why. I remember the doctor again giving me my diagnosis. She didn't have very much empathy for me. And after that initial shock, I went into despair, confusion. It was like a gut punch, anguish, hopelessness. And part of the reason was I was in a panic because my current insurance company did not cover MS drugs. And my mindset back then was, oh my God, I can't afford to take these drugs. My life is over. And that's what I think most people think. But our bodies are really not designed to be on long-term drugs. Many drugs cause side effects, which makes you worse off in the end. And by the way, I did my research back when I was diagnosed about 10 years ago, and things might have changed, and I need to do another search on this. But at the time, MS drugs were anywhere from $55,000 a year to just under $100,000 a year. Who can afford that? Who can afford that? No wonder why our insurance is so expensive. These drug companies are making a mint on our ill health. And that's something that just gets my blood boiling when I want to start educating people that they can turn their disease around, particularly MS, with diet and lifestyle. I healed myself. I interviewed over 10 people and wrote a book about it on how these other 10 people turned their life around with diet and lifestyle, and they haven't had a symptom since. I keep in touch with a lot of these people, and I know that I haven't had any symptoms since. Now, let me restate that. I have not had any symptoms if I kept up my diet, meaning, so if I have more than 2 large glasses of wine, guess what? My numbness comes back. So if I don't treat myself and feed my body the foods and the liquids my body needs, or if I get too much of something or too little of something, yes, then I get a symptom that comes back. But all in all, I've been pretty symptom-free for about 10 years. And I want people to know that we just need to be educated on this. You know, as soon as I found out that I could heal myself, I thought, oh my God, why don't we know this? Why don't we know about grounding? Why don't we know about eating whole foods and how much and how many and what kinds to eat to sustain our bodies so that we can thrive? So remember, I followed Dr. Wall's book after I got diagnosed. And this is part of it too. When I found out that I could heal myself, I was so delighted. I was on cloud 9, knowing that I could heal myself and I would not end up in a wheelchair. This was huge for me. People need to know this. We need to spread the word. So anybody that you know that has MS, you need to let them know that they can heal themselves with diet and lifestyle. It's absolutely true. And they need to find the right people that can help them get to where they need to be, which is back to health. Now, I want to tell you that I did follow Dr. Wall's book after I got sick and found out that she had a solution for me. But I want to tell you, it was not easy. Her recipes in the back of the book were not that tasty to me. So really, it took me about 3 to 4 years after the fact that I healed myself. And it was a struggle because everything I ate was really not that delicious. It was not yummy. It was difficult and not joyful the way I healed myself. So I made all these recipes and wanted to help people know that healthy whole foods can be really delicious. Part of the reason why I believe why I healed so quickly, I healed most of my symptoms within 6 to 8 weeks, and the blind spot in my eye healed after 5 months. And why I think that happened so fast for me is because I was joyful. I was joyful knowing with the fact that I was going to heal myself. I just knew I could do it. And people need to get into that mindset. When you have positive emotions, your body is going to heal much faster. than if you're depressed, or if you go about healing yourself in kind of a unjoyful way or a way that doesn't make you feel good. You need to be excited about healing yourself. And that's how you're going to get well sooner than later. And what I also found out is it's not all diet, right? If you listen to my previous podcasts, you'll figure out it's not all diet. I believe it's 70 to 80% diet, but the rest is exercise, emotions, healing trauma, exercise, getting outside, taking the right vitamins. So there's so much to it when you break it down. But that's also why I created a coaching program so I can help people turn their health around and learn what they need to do to get back their healthy self. By the way, I have a masterclass coming up. This is May 25th, 2025. This is a Sunday. It will be 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And if you want to log on to that, sign up for my newsletter and you will get information on how to sign up for that. Or just reach out to me. You can email me at info@nourishyourway.com so you can get on my list. Once you watch my masterclass on how to heal yourself, you can also learn how I can help you expedite that much faster and get you on your healthy healing journey much quicker. So thank you for listening. I hope you picked up some tips and some reasons why I'm doing this podcast and video. It's to help you. So it is my passion to let everybody know that they can heal.